You want to turn the heater off or you want to keep it on? It's making a little bit of noise, but maybe our listeners can suffer while we enjoy the heat.
No, let's not.
There you go. There's your male ego kicking in. I don't need
it. Yes, winter is here. Winter is not just coming. Winter is here.
So Hans and I have been in. Look at you trying to look better. It's hopeless, man. It's hopeless.
What if I do this?
You look great, man. You look fantastic. I see. I know I have to compliment him and feed his ego, or he won't stop. Is it okay? You need another.
My love language is words of affirmation.
Yes. That and looking in the mirror. All right.
That's not one of the love languages.
That's how you self-affirm. Yeah, it's for you. So Hans and I have been here in south of Brazil on this island by the beach for, I fixed this one straight over here.
3.5 months.
Not quite. It's more like 3 months and
1 week.
11 days. 3 months and 10 days. 3 months and 10 days.
I stand corrected. I stand corrected.
My male ego is bigger and better than your male ego.
It's certainly bigger.
That's debatable. All right.
You know what they say, the bigger the ego, the smaller the... But we have a great topic today. That's why we talk about it this way too. The ego has always a bad reputation.
These days.
I
don't think in the past, in ancient generations when there were kings and warriors and Vikings and whatever, You want a strong male ego.
Yes.
Back in the days. Obviously, we live in different times now. And in civilized society, there are, I think, and life isn't just about survival for 20 to 40 years. It's about a lot of other things.
Yeah.
But anyway, this topic came up. You and I, we both woke up at 4 a.m. this morning, and this is about 2.5 hours before we intend to get up. And we woke up because there's howling winds outside. The cold front is coming in, and both of us, this past 10 days we've been enjoying just paradise weather, just amazing, incredible hot days, warm mornings, perfect seas, and sunrises. And there was a spell of time there for about a month and a half where a lot of those mornings out there were stormy, were cold, the water was cold, the water was rough, and it was not pleasant. It was looking like it was only going to get worse. And then a warm front came in and the seas got calm, and it's almost like what winter, Yes. But now that winter officially started with the 21st, that was about 4 days ago.
Oh.
And it's looking like
shit.
It might be coming. But we've been talking about maybe changing up our morning rituals.
Yes.
Like I just look forward to this horizon of like darker and darker mornings, colder and colder, gray. And so already the seeds of I don't know how long I want to continue this same morning ritual. Maybe it's time for a change up. And then wake up at 4 a.m. The winds are howling. And it's like the alarm comes. I hear you get up. I was like, all right, okay, we're going. And so I come down already begrudgingly. And we head out to the ocean. And we get out there and it's like...
As we do every morning. It's a wake-up ritual.
When you step out of the jungle, when there's wind, the wind really hits you when you get out of the jungle.
Yes.
And you came out of the jungle, you're like, oh, fuck.
I'm like, oh, fuck. And Michael goes, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, he says, oh, fuck, like a sissy. Like a little bitch. And so anyway, we get out there.
No. Back up, We're already planning since yesterday. Fuck, it's gonna get cold, And what is great is whenever you say something that could diminish doing the rituals, I come back and says, no, fuck it, we're doing it. Or when I go, like yesterday evening, I said, well, it's going to be cold. And Michael goes, be bold. So it's like, we're trying to find a partner, you know,
Like,
but the other doesn't give in.
In our victimhood, or in our
yes.
the whiner within wants to seek allyship.
Yes.
You know, I want an ally in my victimhood, but it's always met by the other as you.
You know, but that's great, because I think that's what we are. Wow, and that's maybe where the ego feeds the alliance. Is where friends would maybe like seek comfort with each other and give each other comfort. But I feel like we have an opposite dynamic, which is driven by ego, and like we don't want to be the weakest link.
Well, I think that's what you have in any kind of normal brotherhood. You know, like there's a lot of guys today that I feel are really wounded around brotherhood and fathers and all of this, and they don't really know how to be around men. In any group of men, there is that battling for dominance, and
Yes.
you know that most of it good natured, just
Yes.
banter and wrestling and taking the piss.
So I come to you yesterday and I say, it's going to be cold. And you say, be bold. So we get out in the morning, we go to the sea, okay? We look at the sea. Michael says, fuck, I think with my shoulder I can...
That part was a joke.
That was intentional, you know? I know. I shouldn't get in the water.
Yeah.
And I go, I don't think I'm going in the sea at all. I don't need an excuse. It's too cold.
And I started going with you. I was like, yeah, maybe it's time to change it up. You know, we can reinvent our rituals later on during our morning integration ritual. And
as you're making your stand,
then you make your stand. I make my stand. As I'm making my stand,
I'm feeling, fuck, it would be heroic if I go in. You know, that would be epic. You know, and I say, I think I'm gonna go in, and I start like unzipping, really, and I undo my hoodie, and I feel the cold winds. Really, it was really cold.
And you start zipping it back up.
I said, oh no, I don't think so. You know, I don't think so. And then Michael says, wow, I don't know what you said.
I just started taking off my clothes.
I think that's a challenge.
Yeah.
I'm going in.
There's no way he's getting in the water. This little bitch ass European punk is getting in the water, and I'm sitting on the ocean looking at him. No way.
So
we both
challenge each other.
Hans takes off to the water. You know, as you I think I had more clothes to take off or something, but as I was coming down to the beach, I looked at your footprints in the sand, and I just thought to myself, like imagine I'm following these footprints into the sea, and he never comes out, and that's the last that we see of him is his footprints into the sea.
Because the sea was wild that day, my friends.
Yeah, the sea was like, well, it was cold, but it was like had a really strong toe.
Yeah,
going down the beach. And there's been many mornings out there in that ocean I've thought I could die today.
Oh yeah, the sea is
There's been many really
no, for sure. If you go too deep or you get swept by the current, you're less vigilant than me in that. I did some surfing in the past. Oh, I'm explaining it.
Well, my male ego,
yes,
even with myself, if I start to feel like, oh, I'm being a little bitch, then I gotta push myself. And there's a danger in that. I mean, I busted.
Well, what do you mean you can't jump out of this plane without a parachute? Don't be a little bitch, okay?
It's kind of like that. It has me putting myself in danger and taking risk. Sometimes not so smart, but many times I wouldn't have done it otherwise.
Yes.
Some of my greatest adventures and achievements and all this.
Well, this morning
because of that,
I felt bad, and now we've been in the sea. You know, the walk back was even worse because then you had the wind. That was the worst, actually. You know, and that's great.
You walked back? Yeah, I turned around. I saw you walking back.
No, I ran, and then I helped.
I saw you walking in the sand through the dunes. I turned around and I saw you walking.
And then I helped the neighbor start his car I pushed the car. I called for Michael Skye, who wasn't anywhere except probably in the house in front of the fire.
No, I was in a hot shower.
I
30-minute hot
pushed
shower.
naked with my Speedo. I pushed that car so he could go to work. I helped the neighbor, so I did that too. I don't know what you did.
That's disgusting.
So the male ego made it that we feel challenged, and we did that what we would normally not do. And, and it was a great thing.
It can be easy to back out of something.
It was a great thing.
If you don't have a brother, an ally to push you. And, these days the male ego gets a terrible rap. It gets a terrible rap. And, I think of my young nephews. And one of my nephews was raised the first several years of his life without a father figure. Just my sister, who's really sweet, loving, caring, and she gives all the extra care, like a normal mother would do, And he doesn't have any of that kind of father presence of, oh, you'll be okay, pick yourself up, go out, yeah, you can do it. It's two different kind of energies, so he doesn't have that balance.
Yeah.
And he's over-relied for a lot of his life, I feel, on, that sense of like, I'm not fully okay to go out there and conquer the world. I kind of need some loving and some mothering and stuff like this. And what's really cool though is on the last few times I've seen him on these family calls we've been doing, since the family reunion, and I have a guess of what happened at the family reunion, but since the family reunion, he's been talking shit back to me. He's been really confident, like telling stories. He's been like, I haven't seen him he's like 15. Right. And that age, 13 to 15 is always kind of really difficult anyway, because you're trying to find who you are, And I imagine what happened at the family reunion, because my younger brother he's like me, constantly talking shit, constantly challenging, battling. And my dad's the same way. So you get in that environment, and it's like the pack of dogs. You put the dog that doesn't know how to be a dog in with the pack of dogs, and then it starts finding its way, and it's okay.
Yeah, I think I'm just thinking of I always talk of my darker side also as being very competitive. My dark is a lot to do with it, but man, has it brought me beautiful things in life. That like want to win. Like my father who taught me how to win. And that it was a good thing. Yes. And I've always had the competitive spirit. Yes. And it has brought me great things. I want to be the best at racing my bike, at seducing women, at whatever, And it's a great thing, It comes with bad things also, but it's a beautiful thing to want to be the best, to want to be perceived as the best, to want to beat the others.
Look, even though you're terrible at all those things, you still believe you're the best. And that's worth something. That's worth something.
No shit. Like, for example, I don't believe at all what he says.
It prevents the shame and the guilt. There was, I remember seeing a funny video about, on YouTube, it was like 10, 12 years ago. And it was like it was like a critique on American culture, American society. And it's like the rankings for different countries around the world in math, in all these kind of different levels of intellectual ability and or schooling or whatever. And then and America was like far down the list, like on all of these things, like we're really failing in a lot of ways. And then the next criteria is confidence, and America's like number one. And the image, the video going along with it is this American boy on a roof of his house on a bicycle. He goes down the roof and off a jump, and he's trying to land on the roof of the neighboring house. He goes off the jump with complete confidence, smack into the side of the other house, the wall of the other house, and falls down. But confidence,
This guy. So, I got this wave. Don't worry. Bam.
It was a wake-up call getting that other shoulder injured after this one was injured a year ago, driving an electric scooter in Austin like a bat out of hell, going the wrong way on a busy street. And so
But what greatness has come from that? Besides you informing me every day, my shoulder is getting better.
Some great stories, man.
My shoulder is getting better. It's fine. I think it's finally healed. Bam! The other one.
You know, like a lot of my ventures into the unknown lands and unknown arenas of life came from saying just fuck it.
Yes.
Know, and just here I go.
You know, that's what the ego can do. The ego can. I think what the ego can do is when we see comfort, there's the comfort that we could choose, and there's adventure that we could choose, and the ego is the thing that says, let's do it. That's the thing that gets you out of that comfort zone, which is needed.
Well, it's one thing that can do
it.
I don't think it's the only
thing. But to be challenged is one of the ways that can get you there.
Yes.
Fuck, that's great. Or the I want to get that woman. I want to do it for her. I'm building the fucking Taj Mahal. No, I want to make it bigger. That kind of thing.
Yes.
It's great what it does. I would love to read the quote, but it's on my phone, so I can't read it now.
Was it written by a great man on the way of honor in the land of women?
Thank you. No.
Really?
There's some other
You're
man
gonna
out
read
there
someone else's quote?
Great.
Man.
It's from the guy who wrote Into the Wild. It's about adventure. Can you pull up Facebook on your computer or not?
No, let's not do it on this one.
All right.
Yeah, we get the idea though.
I'll read
it's a
it
great
tomorrow.
quote by a great man. So yeah, the male ego takes a bad rap these days, but it's
it has incredible penetrative force, and it's needed for a society to go forward. It's needed for a human being to keep going forward. It's so important to have that power, and the ego can get you there.
I want to push back on that it's needed, but I think it's very useful. And if like, especially if that's all you got, or it's like, the thing I want to say is that it always takes a bad rap these days, but there's many great things we have in this world that are a result of the male ego.
Yes.
Many from things like computers and like all sorts of things that we have.
Yes.
So yeah.
Aren't we blessed? I feel so blessed with my ego.
Yes, well, and I suffer, I have to live with his male ego every day.
If you were me, you would be vain as well. What can I say?
If I was you, I'd just kill myself. I just finish it right there.
This is you thinking about being me. But if you were
Let's talk about I want to make a segue and I'm going to try to wrap it all in here. And that is this. What you see going on right now with the Black Lives Matter movement.
Okay.
And like this morning, I was up at 4 in the morning and I started watching some of what's going on. And I saw I think it was in Washington, D.C., this group, and they were mostly white people marching down the street, and they march into a restaurant that's mostly white people as well, just enjoying a nice, expensive dinner, And they're all doing their chants, the call and response and all that kind of stuff.
The what?
Call and response. It's a black thing. You wouldn't get it. You wouldn't get it.
So white people are yelling what? Call and response?
Call and response. It's like someone calls out something and then the group responds.
Okay. But they're white people doing this.
Mostly, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
La 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 la.
That
something
kind of
like
thing,
this. Okay,
yes.
We are having dinner now.
Well, white people suck.
Oh, okay.
It's
they're singing as if they're black or what? I'm really trying to understand what's going on.
No, but it's just their chants about what's going on in the world, what they're fighting for, and all this sort of thing. So, and at the end, and there's now there's huge social pressure, right? They want everyone in the and this is a bit of a threat, right? These people are enjoying a normal dinner, and the place fills up with loud chanting people who won't go away, and
they're protesting against people.
The implication is that the country's racist. People are dying, yes. And they want everyone in the restaurant to put their fists in the air and declare solidarity, with the movement. but there's very much an implied threat there. Now, this is nothing like what I've seen over the past few years in some different campus situations on campus, where there's a very, very high level of like aggression in those and threat in those kind of situations. And this stuff is playing out, and it's not going away. And okay, I want to tie this back into the ego, okay? But because I make a distinction between, I'm gonna use some conceptual terms here, but the positionary ego and the stand-based ego. Okay, so a position-based ego and a stand-based ego. And the position-based ego, this is what we normally think of like the ego. It's like, I'm better, this is true, this isn't true. It's like that kind of like all-knowing, I'm in the right, and I'm above. And whereas the stand-based ego it's the one is about pride, the position-based ego. The other one's about honor, which is like, in the face of all this, I stand for this, and it's fueled by honor. So what's going on with a lot of the culture war in the States, as I see it, is the Black Lives Matter movement, by and large, is trying to. There's a large part of it that's trying to pressure the rest of society who's not yet aligned with them to take their position, to agree with all their conclusions and judgments about who and what is right and wrong, what the solution is, what it's not, and who's evil, who's not, all these things. And they're viewing anyone who opposes them as the enemy, as evil. Now, this isn't just about Black Lives Matter and how they're wrong or anything. This is what human beings do when we take sides inside of like a divorce.
So if you don't position yourself with Black Lives Matter, then you're a racist.
If you're not 100% with us and agreeing and complying to everything that we say, then you are racist, you are the enemy. That's kind of the orientation.
So if you were to stand up in that situation for, hey, I want to eat my meal here quietly, then you're a racist.
Pretty much. Yes. No, really. Yeah, that's how it would be taken.
Wow.
You're not standing in solidarity, and look at you and your privilege. You can just eat in this restaurant and whatever. The implication is, if you don't 100% submit, you are racist. And this is not going to go away like this. This is going to escalate. This is where I think that I was thinking this morning, like this is where I could be of service with my work, But they're also going to have trouble winning true allies to their side, because yes, you'll get a lot of people complying and submitting, but are they really standing with you?
So what you see is happening is that the movement is so pervasive that they're trying to submit people to their position, and it comes at the cost of people really standing with them.
It comes at the cost of a lot of things, yeah, but and it's not about it being so pervasive, but it's now underneath every position is a stand. They're standing for something. Mm-hmm. So what if everyone could stand with them? Like, if that's the true objective, everyone standing with them, there's better ways to do it, I believe.
Well, yeah. Well,
and I think what they're going to get is they're going to get opposition. They're going to create more opposition.
Well, yeah, if the judgment is the way to navigate this, meaning if you're not with us, you're against us, that's what you're going to end up with. Instead, if you could honor the others, then you're going to have people who make a different stand, but you got to have people also who stand with you,
They're very much on a trajectory to escalated
like every
violation and violence.
Like every relationship, every conflict in a marriage, is doing the exact same thing, You're with me or you're against me, We judge the other, and it just escalates.
I just want to not speak it in a conclusion. Some people don't navigate conflicts in that way.
I know.
Yes, but no, that's many relationships. When we get into conflict, we form our positions, our righteous position against the other. And then we start living in a completely different perceived reality than the other. and the other starts seeming crazy and evil and everything else. And then we go to war. We find allies, and we determine allies are those who completely take our position.
Yes.
Anyone in the middle is with the other side.
So you were trying to tie it back in. Where's the ego come in? What's the greatness of the ego in this?
The ego is a positionary. It's the positionary ego.
Okay.
Is what we tend to think of as the ego is what I would call the positionary ego.
Gotcha.
That's like, Hans, you're a pussy.
But
you're not getting in the water.
But
I'm the best. This is true. This is not. Now we do it in play a lot. We use it in a
so
very
you're
kind
the
of
example of the positionary ego, and I'm the example of the honorable ego. Is that what you're trying to say? I get it.
Yes, you're right. You're above me. Yes, you are.
No, but how would? Well, I was going to say how. So I'm distracted now.
How do we make the change?
No, you said you have the positionary ego and you have the what ego?
The position-based ego and the stand-based ego.
Yes.
The words I've used before: positionary ego and visionary ego.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And you can see how how the stand-based ego could help you make a stand even in the face of.
No, not just much more than make a stand, because the people taking a position are making a stand.
Yes.
But what they're doing is not only are they getting people on their side, but they're getting people on their side against the others. And the others who don't take their side, they're turning them into enemies when many of them would not otherwise be their enemies. And so in the end, they can end up hurting the cause.
But what's the role of ego? Because you have position, you could say there's position and there's honor. There's pride or there's honor. What's the role of the ego in either one?
Well, the positionary ego is something that can help you go into the unknown and face fear or face a hostile audience.
Okay.
Right? Think about you're going to go give a speech to a hostile audience.
Yes.
You might get really grounded in what's true, what's false, what they don't understand that
Yes.
Who's right, who's wrong, what the right solution is, what it's not, and go out kind of combative or go out, kind of like with your defenses up in your position. And so this is how people will use it. Okay, we have to take on, let's say if you feel you are in a lesser situation or a vulnerable situation, and you got to go face the man, face the powers that be, fight the system. You can use a position to shield you and empower you.
Right.
And then what's the opposite side? What are the other people going to feel though? They're going to feel threatened. They're going to feel judged. They're going to feel unseen, disrespected.
Yes.
And they're very unlikely to take your side, except to the extent that they see your stand.
Yes, but you're explaining the difference between position and honor, which is great. What is great in it is how the ego can have you make, how the ego can feed you make it a stand and do it, and for example, be a chief for your people. That would be great to see how the ego can put you into that position, even when you don't feel like it or you're like, and you say, no, I'm making a stand as a chief of my people. I'm taking care of everyone. That would be where the ego.
Well, you could say, for example, like, let's say your father was not taking that chief kind of a role, and you saw how it, whatever. You could say, I'm not going to do it like him. I'm better than that.
Yes.
And then
exactly.
But it doesn't have to come from that place.
No,
either.
but that's where the ego could have a great effect.
Yeah. Well, like anything, the positionary ego is a tool, and it can be used for many things. And like one way that I use it a lot is simply to play, to tease, to joke, because in the end, I know that we're allies, and I'll stand for you and whatever. I'll back down from my ego. I'll back down from the conflict, but I enjoy the conflict. I enjoy the back and forth, the challenge.
What you said, the positionary ego and the stand, or the ego based in the position and the ego based in the stand. If that kid says, I'm going to do better than my father, okay, that's a positionary ego.
It depends. Like if he's saying that his father was wrong,
yes,
and whatever is right, and
yes,
if it's about being better than and being locked into his conclusions about solutions and reality, that's one thing. It might, but he could be making a stand for being better than his father.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's not just, in the terms that you put it, it's not so clear.
Yeah, but that still just explains to me the difference between position and stand. It doesn't show me how the ego contributes to making a stand, how the ego contributes to something beautiful. I don't see the how the ego is different in either one of those positions.
Well, if you're really locked into that position-based ego, it tends to create a lot of problems. The cons often outweigh the positives. But if it's simple, like if it's a simple motivator for like, I want to win, I want to be better, I want to be better than I used to be, I want to be better than even others, I want to achieve the top. There's a lot of positives in that. But to the extent that you're locked in the judgments as a way of navigating the world, I mean, well, you can see it like in many conquerors as well. Many men with big egos. You think of Napoleon, or you think of Genghis Khan, for example, that just destroyed, killed many, laid to waste.
The way I hear it now and understand it is that it seems to me like that the ego is based in position. I don't see an example where you show that the ego is based in the stand that you want to make and that it's a great thing. I don't see it now.
So I think I understand what you're saying. I'm drawing a distinction between what we think of as ego right now, and I'm calling that a position-based ego.
Okay.
And then I'm saying there's something else, which is a stand-based ego, meaning this, like I'm identifying not with my position, but with my stand. I say who I am for my people is the one who stands for being this. That's a stand-based ego. Versus who I am is, and it's all your judgments and conclusions and all of this. Does that make sense? The one brings with it honor and a willingness to face.
Yes, I still don't see why you could say the same thing and just talk about position. This is getting complicated, but you could say the same thing and just talk about position or stand. I don't see where the ego comes in. You could say you can have a position.
Yeah, you don't have to use the word ego.
Okay.
But I do it because people use that term.
Okay.
And I'm trying to draw a distinction of you can look at someone, for example, someone could judge a man who's really fucking standing for something, and they could judge it as it's just about his ego, it's just about his pride, it's just about his whatever. Like there's a lot of reasons to make distinguish what's going on there with this very loose concept that we call ego and that we have judgments about and all of this.
Because one could also argue that the position is the ego, whereas the stand is not ego. You could say that.
Sure.
Okay. So still lots to explore.
Well, yeah, you could say it, but it's the utility of it. It's the utility of drawing distinctions a certain way that's going to make you more powerful as a leader.
Yes.
It's not that, you can draw the categories differently or use different terms. It's just about the utility.
I say it that way because I still don't see the utility of using ego connected with there's ego in the stand or based on a stand compared to an ego based on the position.
One day see the distinction you will, young Padawan. One day. I'll keep up my hard work standing for you.